Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I am very excited to be checking out another new track from Monasteries. I did Alone and Against on the channel when that came out. Both that and this track I'll be checking out today, called Heaven Failed Us, are taken from their upcoming album Ominous, which will be out on August 25th. I really got into this band when someone requested Lilac on a live stream that we did. I was just taken back by that song and have been keeping my eye on the band ever since. The tracks off of this record are huge, so I am expecting more people to discover them, be talking about them, because it feels like they deserve more traction and recognition than what I've seen so far. Hopefully this record will do it for them, because what I've heard with the two tracks, Lilac is a bonus track on this album, and then Alone and Against was the first real single, I suppose, if you don't count a bonus track. But anyway, those songs are phenomenal. Very high expectations for this band. I will link all of the pre-orders, the merch, all the social media promotional links for the band in the description of this video. Other than that, I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. Ooh. No. Drop in with the blasties after that. Chaotic yet melodic. Oh. Thick as shit. Wow, those layered vocals. Oh my god. Baby.
haven't found you, lost a lover. I'm so sorry, lost a lover. Haven't found you, lost a lover.
Ooh, I was not expecting this.
I'm so sorry, lost a lover. Haven't found you, lost a lover. I'm so sorry.
Monasteries, Heaven Failed Us. Let's discuss. I cannot say that this was something that I was expecting going into the track, but Josh can sure as hell sing. It sounds incredible, and at the same time as it has that very emotive, very light aspect to it in some places, it still manages to be heavy as hell, which is something I think it's not easy to do. Probably it's a bit easier to switch gears completely, I think, and do a ballad type track or something that might be acoustic, and you lean into that all the way. But to bring in these elements that are already laid down in your sound and bring in the heaviness, like that one part where I mentioned that it goes from being so emotive and light, and it has a little bit of singing and very stripped back. I think in terms of the song overall, probably one of the most stripped back parts of it. And then just seconds later, all of a sudden blast beats, having some of the stuff that sounds so in the pocket when it comes to the instrumentation and the vocals, especially in the beginning of the song. Some of it is just like so much emphasis. I'm just very much blown away by this. I think this will be my favorite of the singles so far. I was not expecting any sort of singing like that, and it reminds me a lot of earlier Reflections, if you are familiar with the album The Color Clear, and even on their newer stuff, like some of the songs. Samsara is a little bit, that's the track that kind of mostly reminds me of The Color Clear off their newer stuff, but that's a band that is ridiculously heavy, but can do the same sort of mixing it in with aggression, just brutality, being able to have big drops in a song that has something that's, can make you cry at the same time. Stuff like that I feel is the perfect combination for me, because I love my sad music. I'm a huge fan of not just, metalcore, deathcore. I listen to a lot of singer-songwriter stuff as well. Julian Baker is one of my favorite artists in the world. So for me, I know there's always going to be people, a lot of bands, one small sprinkle of singing, and you have the people in the comments that are like, this band has gone soft. I can't believe you did this to me. How could you? And it's one song. So I'm sure Monasteries may deal with some feedback like that. Maybe not. Maybe they won't. I hope that they won't. But I would let it roll off my shoulders, because I swear every single video that has any singing in it for a heavier band, I see a comment like that. But I always wait until after I'm done recording my outros and stuff to look at the comments. So I'm definitely going to hop to it and see what people have to say. Hopefully it has the reception that I feel it deserves, because it's just a gorgeous track at the same time as having like that edge to it, that crunchiness that Monasteries has to offer, and really got me into them and starting to listen to them. From a production standpoint, it is what I've said about the band in the past, especially when we talked about Lilac on stream and stuff. It just has that clarity, because a lot of times when you get into stuff that's very heavy, some bands love to like lean on the distortion, and some listeners love having that distortion there. And for me, when it comes to production and presentation and stuff like that, this is much more what I prefer, even beyond this song. If you go and listen to Alone and Against, or go and listen to Lilac, those are songs that have exactly what I'm talking about. It's not got anything to do with it having singing or no singing. It's being able to pick everything out while it still comes together very nicely, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like too much gets lost in that in-between space. Like when you start getting a bunch of distortion, sometimes the guitars and some vocal effects will sort of blend them together so you can't pick them out quite as well. Things like that is what I'm talking about, though there are bands like Load that do it in a way that I enjoy. Overall, this is much more my style than stuff that's heavy on distortion and that. So you can be extremely heavy without leaning on that, I think, and it all comes down to preference. I think even taking this track into consideration, I feel the overall sound of the album will probably lean more towards that heavier sound that they have in the rest of their discography, but this provides a very nice variety, or shows a little bit of some additional tricks that they have up their sleeve. Josh is an amazing screamer. He is a vocalist that I feel deserves a ton of attention. I've watched a few of his cover videos that he's done, and he just has a monstrous voice. But being able to flip the coin and do something that's so emotive, sometimes driving a message is about different things. Musicians are not just there to make songs that you think are an ass beater or whatever. It's also a form of release for a lot of people. So sometimes dealing with trauma, working through trauma, is writing songs about stuff that you've been. And I'm not in any way saying that that's what this song is about. I'm just providing some perspective because I feel a lot of the back and forth that I see, or that I, read in my comments, outside of this band, just in general around this topic of, oh, the song has singing in it, and people that can't get past that. Some messages just come across in a much different way when they're presented in a different way. As stupid as that sounds, it's as straightforward as that. So you just, even if you don't like something or a certain quality in music, I think understanding its importance, or what the purpose of it is a key thing as a consumer. And of course, not everyone's going to be interested in that. But anyway, regardless, I think that this provides a bit of variety to the sound that they've laid down so far. We will see, obviously, when the full album comes out, if this is like a one-off on the album, and it provides that sort of breath of not relief, like you need relief from the heaviness, but I think it is important to provide a bit of variety, show off what you can do if that's a sound that you're interested in. So I'm really glad to see that they've done this, and also for it to be released as a single like this, and pretty early on. I'm not hopefully they'll remain, I think it's like a little over a month from right now when the album comes out, so probably one more single, if any more, and I think that's a good amount for a track list of this length and how many they've put out already. Having like 3 or 4 singles, that's usually the best for me. Sometimes I try to, even if more are released, only check out 3 or 4 of them, because that's how much I like to have of an album to check out. I will be super curious now, even more so than before, if it leans all heavier and this is like that one-off track, or if there's a bit of singing or cleaner elements worked in. But again, a lot of the riffing here, or those vocals that I mentioned that were layered and just so brutal sounding, those things still hold that sound I'm talking about that they've got in I hate to mention the same thing twice in one video, but that got me really paying attention to them. I remember on stream, and it's hard for me to remember sometimes first hearing a band when it's on stream. We listen to a ton of stuff, but I can still clearly remember when that song got requested, and then afterwards going back, and it was the first song I listened to after that stream, and I was like, oh yeah, this band. And then after a little while, I sort of fell off, and then I was reminded because I had added them to like my favorites list, so when they put out a new track, it came right up on my Apple Music, and I was right back into them again. And I think with this release, they'll stay on the rotation for me. I know since Alone and Against came out, they have not gone off of it. It's usually a track I add to my playlists every day. It doesn't mean I get to it every day, but I'm never going, oh, I don't feel like this right now, or I don't want to put this in the playlist today. It's something that's been consistent, and this provides something that sounds different, yet that is still related, I'm kind of ranting at this point, I feel. I loved this, though. I personally am a huge fan of the singing, of seeing a different side of Josh's voice, I think, and the ending of the song just had moved me to tears after there were so many moments. There were some drops in there, some riffs in there, those vocals that I had mentioned that were, the opposite side of the spectrum from the end of the song, the lows that were powerhouse vocals there. It feels like the song has it all, especially with what I like to listen to and what I got into these genres with listening to. This is a perfect combination for me. So definitely something that's a win for me. I think it'll be a point of love it or don't love the differences in it, but hopefully overall it'll be well received because I think it deserves it. But we'll see. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I will be finding out now, I suppose. Monasteries, again, coming out with their debut record August 25th. All of the pre-orders, all of the merch, all their social media is in the description of this video. I think they deserve a ton of love, and I haven't seen as much as they deserve for them, so let's make sure if you enjoyed it, we give them some love on the socials and drop them a comment on the video that they posted and all that. Other than that, you can also find my link tree in the description. Now that I'm here in my new office, I am going to be really bumping up my upload schedule back to where it was, doing my request streams, starting up my Twitch channel, and I'm redoing all of the Patreon tiers in the coming week or two to offer more stuff, so those will all be heavily focused on by me. All the links you may need are in that link tree if you want to join the Discord server, which is where the community is based for my YouTube channel. The link for it is there. Also, Patreon, everything I currently offer is still listed. We've got some fun stuff coming up on there and on Twitch. All that's information, yeah, it's there. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.